Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to walk you through the steps of installing some software on your computer that will allow you to use Python or R to analyze some data for psychological experiments. So what we're going to do first is we're going to install Python and this product called Jupyter Notebook, which makes it really easy to write some code and see the output right on our desktop. So first thing you're going to do is go to anaconda.com. And if you scroll down to the Anaconda distribution and select that, and this includes not only Python but some important parts of Python like pandas and NumPy, and it'll install this Jupyter Notebook thing that we're going to use. So it's really pretty easy in the sense that it has everything sort of built into it. So I've already done this on my computer, but I'm going to go ahead and walk you through this. So I'm just going to overwrite this so you can sort of see. You'll get your downloading your executable, and when it's done downloading, you click on it, and it's going to start the install process. And I'll bring the window over so you can see it. So here it's starting the install process. We're going to click next. I agree. I'm going to install it with all users. And we're going to put it in our destination folder, and you just want the default here, and it's actually, and it's going to take a while, so I'm going to pause the recording, and you might wonder, is it actually still installing? Just click show details and you'll see that it's actually doing things. So you got to be patient. Let's come back after it's done and show you the last few steps there. Okay, so finally it's completed. You see setup was completed successfully. We're ready to sort of click through some of these things. We're not going to learn more. We'll just sort of finish it. And the next step will be to launch and test out our Jupyter Notebook. So I'll show you a few things in that in the next step. Okay, we've just installed Python and Jupyter Notebook. So now we're going to sort of run it for the first time. If you go down to your start window, you find Anaconda, and you drop that menu down, you'll see that you have a little icon here for Jupyter Notebook, and you click on it, and it's going to launch two screens. One of them will be a web browser. Now this is where you're going to do all of your data analysis work. Will be in a web browser. It just opens up Edge, for example. And it'll allow you to sort of type some code, run some syntax, and then you'll get your data output. So what I'm going to do is just sort of show you how to open up a new notebook. So right now we go over to New, and you can open up a new notebook. You'll be able to save notebooks and all that kind of good stuff. And I'm going to start a new Python 3 notebook. And so what it's asking me for here is, hopefully you only have to do this the first time that you do it, but it's asking you for a token. So where do you get the token? Well, if you go over here to this black window that came up, you'll see it tells you to copy and paste one of these URLs as the token. So sorry, the audio cut out there. I had a little technical problem. But what you see if you go back and rewind that is you can see me copying the token, pasting it into the box, and then setting a new password. So that after you do that, now you can launch your Jupyter Notebook. You don't have to enter the token anymore. Now you'll enter the password, whatever password you selected. You'll type that in, and you'll log in. You'll be able to see your notebook and launch new ones, and every time it'll ask you for a password. So that's where we are. So the next step is to configure this so that it loads up into a folder that you want it to be in. So that's what we'll do next. Let me show you how to completely log out in case I didn't show you this. Is you log out, and then you're going to press Control-C to stop the kernel. Okay, I'm doing this for the first time, so hopefully this will work. But first thing you want to do is create a folder where you want all of your analyses to be housed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use TCNJ ERP Lab, and I have a stats folder. So I'm going to dump everything there. You can already see some data is already there, but I'm going to launch my Jupyter Notebook in this folder, and I want it to launch there every time, and that's just where I'm going to dump data and do my analyses. And of course I can create subfolders in here if I want to. So that's what we're going to do. Let me show you how to do that. First, what you're going to do is bring up your Jupyter Notebook and the location, and what we're going to do is go to Jupyter Notebook, right click, select more, open the file location. What we're going to do is create a shortcut on the desktop. So create a shortcut, and we do want to place it on the desktop. I'm going to close this window and I'm going to bring it down so you can see it. So here's our Jupyter Notebook shortcut. We'll use that shortcut to launch our notebook where we want to. So right click on it, go into properties, and right here in the target area, what you want to do is this is where you want to put your path. But what we're going to do is we're going to use C:, and I'm going to use /, and then I'm going to use the directory tcnj erp lab /stats, and delete all this other stuff. You want the quotations there at the end, and then you leave everything else alone. Click OK. Now we're going to double click on this, and it's going to launch. We'll now have to enter our password, and voila, we're in that stats directory, and we could load up any one of these or use up any one of these files, create our own notebook, and do some data analysis. So now we have Jupyter Notebook up and running, and we have a quick shortcut to it. I'm going to log out and sort of show you what will happen to, or the way we can start it again is simply trying to shut down the kernel here. There we go. You just double click this thing again, and it launches up whenever you need it. Now, it could be cool, and you might want to actually pin your icon to your taskbar. That can be really helpful sometimes. Just depends on if you want to do that or not. I like doing things like that. So the way you can do that is you can just do, you can pin it to your start menu if you want. You could also pin it to the taskbar. So now we're down here, and no matter what applications are open, you can launch it by just clicking on that guy right there. Okay, so the next step is to install R. So you can just search for our website, Comprehensive R Archive Network, and then when you get to this page, you're going to download R for Windows. Follow the links. And when it saves, we'll then run it. Pull this over so you can see it. And we're going to just install it in the default directories. And we're not going to customize anything. We'll create a little desktop shortcut. And I'm going to pause here. This won't take as long, but I'm going to pause here while it's installing. Okay, so it finished installing. Let me show you what happened. There's an icon that's part of the desktop, so I'm going to click on that, and let me size the screen so that you can see what I'm doing here. Now, what I'm going to do is, or I encourage you to sort of have this installed on your computer, because you may have applications where you want to use the R console. We're not going to use the R console in our examples. Instead, we'll use Jupyter Notebook to run R. But I do use the R console to install packages. So the first thing you do if you're going to install a package is you set the, so people write different packages. You install them as part of your library, but you don't need everything. So you're only going to install the stuff that you use. So the first thing you're going to do is set a site to download things from. What you want to do, a server, in effect. What you want to do is select some place geographically pretty close to you. So we're going to select Tennessee. And then I'm going to load, or I'm going to install a package. I'll just install one example package, and we'll install some more later. Let me find it. It's the AFX package, I think. Here it is. So we're going to go ahead and install that because that's one package that we're going to use to do some analysis of variance. So I'm just sort of showing you what it looks like. And you could come in, and I often do whenever I need a package to do something. I'll open up the R console and do what I'm doing right now, install the package. It's pretty easy to do within the R console on your computer itself. So we're just going to let that run. You get the picture. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and pause it until it's done. Okay, so it seems to be installed that particular package. So the next step, what we're going to do is we're going to close this R on our desktop here. Or maybe it's not done running. Okay, finally finished. And it'll tell you that it's done. And now I'm closing it, and I don't care about saving the workspace image. So our next step is to now marry the R kernel with Jupyter Notebook. So in effect, what we're going to do is install something called an R kernel. So that'll be our next step. Okay, we're going to try to install the IR kernel, but having some technical difficulties. Big surprise, right? So here we go. What we're going to do is we're going to go to Anaconda, and we're going to launch an Anaconda prompt, but make sure you launch it as an administrator. So right-click, More, Run as Administrator. Now you're going to get this prompt here, and so what we're going to do is we're going to type conda install -CR IR IR kernel, and hopefully it will work. It's gonna collect some information, install some stuff. It was a little faster for me because I've already been through this process a little bit once that failed, so we'll see if it works this time. So for yours, it's going to have to go through and install a bunch of files on your computer, but that's normal. That's what it does. That's what Conda is sort of doing. So hopefully this is now running and everything, no errors this time, so that's good. The first time I ran it, I didn't run it as an administrator, and that's why it failed. So if you type exit, that'll close that window. Now we should be able to launch our Jupyter Notebook, and hopefully we'll see our R kernel if everything has gone well. Yes, excellent. So now we click on new, we can run an R. So now you could do R, you're going to have to type in, but this will be your R notebook. So here's where you would type in your R commands, and you can see R right there instead of the Python kernel. So here we could, call it R test, and we'll rename it, and it's saved it. So we'll save it, auto-saved, and we can sort of log out. Now you'll see if we go back to this, there's our R test notebook, right? And so we can open up, we'll create a new Python notebook too on this computer here, and I'm going to save it as Python test, whatever, doesn't really matter, right? And we'll just make sure you save it. Doesn't auto-save very easily. And then we can sort of log out of this, and you'll see both of them are there. So now, if we did have commands in there, we would just double click on this notebook, you type in your command, and boom, it's there. And we can continue to add to this. So now, if you're at this point, you're in great shape. Everything's set up, and you're ready to do this. And we're going to move to the next section, which will be actually testing this out with some data, where we type in some commands, either in Python or in R, to do some analyses or data handling. Don't forget, if you're going to log out, you just close your web browser and close all your tabs, and then to get rid of this window, you just click on it, and you're going to do Control-C to shut down the kernel. You can also just close it down. But that's it, and hopefully you've gotten that far and gotten everything installed. If not, just let me know, and we'll try to help you.